let everybody know once upon a time, I was a bad kid. I am now reformed. I am not a menace to society anymore. Now, when you are a bad kid, it comes with pros and its cons, you know, just like everything in life. One of the pros with being a bad kid is that I know how to fight real good. You can't be a bad kid and not know how to fight. But when it comes to me fighting, I want to let everybody know, if you ever fight me, I'm always going to start the fight off first. I'm never going to allow you to hit me first. Now, if you decide you want to defend yourself and you want to hit me harder than how I hit you, you going to jail. And that's just what that is. Now, one of the pros of being a bad kid is, well, it's not really a pro, it's kind of a con, but it is a pro because it keeps you focused and keeps you on your toes. But I got trust issues. And the reason why I got trust issues is because my aunt, I was 8 years old and I was at my grandma's house. And for whatever reason, my mama came and picked up my brother and sister, but she left me at my grandma's house. And so me and my grandma just sitting there looking stupid because my mama left me at my grandma's house. Now my aunt comes and she's like, I'll take you home. It ain't no problem, you know? And the problem with that though, I got trust issues. I don't know my aunt, but I know that's my aunt. Like, I know that's my mom's sister, but I don't know this lady. I'm not supposed to get in the car with a stranger. But I get in the car with her because what other choice do I have? Now, as she's driving, I don't know this lady. So she got road rage. I ain't never seen nobody with road rage. This car in front of us is driving super slow. So she yelling at the car inside her car. She like, you need to hurry up and go because I'm gonna be late for the club. Ladies get in free before 10. And I'm like, Auntie, it's only 8 o'clock. I think you got enough time to get to the club before 10. And she was like, but this car gonna make me late if we don't keep going. Like, we gotta get there. Now, the car ends up brake checking my aunt. This lady gets out her car and yells at the other lady and tells her, you don't know me, I'll run you and us off the road. Now, I'm like, I've never heard that before, so I'm scared. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Now, the lady in front of us gets out her car. My aunt gets scared and run back and gets the car out the door. So I'm sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? She was like, y'all gonna have to help me fight. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. You know, like, I know how to fight, but I'm not about to fight her. That's your problem. Now, she was like, all right, what you can do is, I got a bag in the trunk of my car. You're the smallest one. If you get out, she ain't gonna see you. So I was like, you know, I'll get you the back to fight, but I'm not fighting. So I open the door, I get out, and then my aunt left me, y'all. I got trust issues till that day because of that. But like I said, there's pros and cons to being a bad kid. Another pro of being a bad kid is I got a lot of friends. Now I know everybody in here got friends, whether they real or imaginary. At the end of this joke, I want everybody to evaluate your friend group and make sure that y'all name is strong as a group. Because me personally, I got a group of friends, it's 5 of us including me. My first friend, TJ, he is a thief. No, he does not steal from people. But every job he's ever worked at, he's stolen from. And he steals stuff you can use like trash bags, bottles of grease, hamburger buns. If you need it, he'll get it. That's our corporate bandit. Then we got Dee Dee. She's a 4'11" little Latino girl that loves to fight. It was one time in high school, Dee Dee beat up 4 people before 8 o'clock in the morning. That is our security. Then we got Kiara. Kiara just go around verbally assaulting people. It don't matter your age, race, gender, your mindset. She gonna curse you out. You could be in kindergarten or a nursing home, and she gonna curse you out. That's our lawyer. Then we got Jamari. He don't do much. He just smoke weed and listen to music. And then there's me. I'm like the therapist. Everybody come to me for advice. But I'm the reason why my group name ain't as strong as it once was, and that's because it's a group of people running around Charlotte spreading the rumor that I'm a snitch. And I want to let everybody in here know I am not a snitch, nor have I ever snitched, nor will I ever snitch. Did I tell on those people? Absolutely. If you put me in a position to tell on you, you clearly wanted me to tell on you in the first place. And I let everybody know, anything that you say and do can, might, and will be used against you. But we gonna break down snitching versus telling. Snitching is, let's say me and you, we commit a crime, the police come, you get away, but I get caught. I then go to the police and I say, did you get me or did you catch us? Because if you just got me, I'm about to help you catch us. That's selfish. I don't condone it, but I understand. Now telling is, let's say I'm with you, you commit a crime, I don't. That means I'm guilty by association. The police come, we get arrested, we go to jail. I'm now standing in front of the judge and the judge goes, well, the minimum amount of years that I can give you for this crime is 8. And I go, well, I got 8 names, 8 statements, 8 addresses, and I can tell you what everybody ate that morning for breakfast. That ain't snitching, that's telling. That ain't self-preservation, that's self-preservation right there. Now, in school we all learn cause and effect, right? The cause, you put me in a position to tell on you. The effect, I told on you. You can't be mad. But I think the world would be a better place if we told on people more. Everybody in here has heard snitches get stitches, right? The next time you hear somebody say snitches get stitches, I don't care what you're talking about or who you talking to. Get a full description of that person and report them to the police. If I leave the show tonight and I go to my grandma's house and for whatever reason my grandma be like, well, you know snitches get stitches. My grandma getting locked up tonight. And I don't feel bad about it. But I'm gonna tell y'all why there's a group of people saying that I snitched on them. Now, me and these people, I ain't gonna call them friends, but me and these people, we went to the movies, and you know, most people, we don't buy snacks at the movie theater, so we go to another store. It just so happened it was a gas station across the street. Now, we got 2 cars. The first car, 5 people in there, it's full. I got 2 other people in my car. I know the passenger, I to this day have no clue who that was in the backseat of my car. But we get to the gas station. The first car, they all run into the store. The person in the backseat of my car got out before I could even park. But what they didn't see was 3 police officers follow behind them as they went into the store. Now me and the passenger, we get out, we go in, she goes into the restroom. I attempt to shop, but I can't really move around or see nothing because the police set up like a fence. I can't see past them, but I can see in between their arms. Now as I'm looking in between their arms, I see the driver of the car pick up a big bag of chips, and she puts it in her purse. I see the passenger of the other car pick up a Pop-Tart, and she puts it in her purse. Whoever that was in the backseat of my car picked up 2 Slim Jims and stuffed it in their sock. Now, they got money and stuff, they go pay for the other stuff they have. But as they were about to leave, the police stopped them and was like, look, we seen y'all stealing, we ain't gonna cause no big deal. Just put everything back and don't come back here. They get mad and cause a big deal. Now, the passenger come out the bathroom and tap me on the shoulder, she like, what's going on? So I lean back and whispered, they in here shoplifting and stealing, they all about to go to jail. For whatever reason, everybody turned around and looked at me, so I didn't realize I could not whisper, and I am currently in danger. So I did what any smart person would do. I ran, got in my car, I drove off. I went to see the movie, y'all. I had an amazing day. Now, a couple weeks go by, I see the driver of the other car, she sees me. She's like, hey, I'm like, hey. She's like, why you snitch on us? And I was like, what you talking about? I ain't never snitched on nobody in my life. And she was like, but you did, you snitched on us. And I was like, I never spoke to a police officer. So how could I have possibly snitched on you? And she was like, Kieshon, no, you never spoke to a police officer. But when the judge asked you what happened, you stood up and pointed at us and said they was in there shoplifting and stealing, they all need to go to jail. And so I looked at her and I was like, Grandma, you shouldn't have put me in a position to tell a judge anything. And you too old to be shoplifting and stealing in the first place. But that's why you gotta watch the company that you keep. But you also need to mind your own business. Cause like I said, y'all know TJ, he be stealing. Now when I met TJ, I knew he was a little different, but I ain't know what I know now, you know. When I met TJ, his favorite artist was Beyonce. You know, and on her birthday, he decided he was gonna write 2 paragraphs to her on her birthday. She never responded. Now, there's this girl in our class named Tanya. He's like, I'm gonna go curse Tanya out because Tanya took all the attention away from me so Beyonce couldn't see my message. And I was like, TJ, I don't think that's what happened, you know, like, and he was like, well, what could it be? And I was like, well, Beyonce don't know you. So I don't think that's really what that was. And he was like, but I'ma still do it. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, TJ might be a little gay. Now, years go by. Last year, he woke up one day and called me. He was like, I want to go to Atlanta and just give up everything here and just start a new life. And I was like, okay, well, do you got somewhere to stay? You have a job out there? Like, and why Atlanta? And he was like, I feel like Atlanta would just allow me to be the man that I'm trying to be, and my creativity will expand, and I already know people out in the community, so that way I could be more accepting of my new life. And I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, TJ, that's gay. And I was like, okay, well, me being a supportive friend, I'm like, do you have a job or somewhere to stay out there? He was like, well, I'ma just, release my inhibitions and let the rain fall on my skin and let the wind take me to wherever I need to go. And I was like, TJ, that's gay. And he was like, I'm not gay, I'm just a sweetheart. And I was like, that's gay. Now, he ends up moving, he gets settled. He calls me, he was like, look, sis, I just bought a house and a car out here. I want you to come and see how I'm living. So me, being the responsible bad kid that I am, I was like, what you doing out there for, like, as work? And he was like, I'm just getting it. And I was like, well, I don't think I'm gonna come out there if you just getting it. What you doing for work? And he was like, I'm just getting money. And I was like, that sounds like you doing something illegal. I don't want to have to tell on you if it come down to it. And he was like, you right, I'm gonna get you a hotel room and I'm gonna give you gas money. I was like, bet. So I get out there, he meets me at the hotel, we're talking and everything. He was like, it's this club called Bulldogs in Atlanta. I think we should go. My friends was telling me about it. So I'm like, okay, let's go. Now when we get to Atlanta, downtown Atlanta at Bulldogs, there's a long line out the door. So I'm like, the club, this must be a popping club. But it ain't nothing but men in the mine. And so I was like, where the girls at, TJ? And he was like, oh, they gonna get here, don't worry about it. So we get in there, and he goes to order a drink. I don't drink, so he was like, I'm gonna get you a Sprite, and then I'm gonna order my drink. Stay close. And I was like, I am, because, well, so I'm gonna do it. Now he orders me a Sprite, and I was like, okay. He orders himself a tequila sunrise. I ain't never heard no man drink no tequila sunrise before. And so I was like, okay, now I'm going around being social. I see TJ in the corner with a girl, but the girl like 3 feet taller than TJ. And so I was like, I'm gonna let him have fun. Now some guy came up to me and he was like, hey queen, are you new to the city? And I was like, yeah, I ain't never been here before. He was like, well, who brought you here? And I was like, my friend, he over there. And I pointed to TJ, and the man looked at TJ and he was like, oh, I know him. And I was like, how you know him? He was like, that's my good sis. And I was like, I think TJ gay. I think TJ gay. And so now TJ come over, he's like, I want to take the girl back to my house. Can you come? Because I don't know her. I don't want to have any problems. And I was like, I can do that. As the friend that I am, let's go. I don't even want to be here for real right now. So we get to his house. There's nothing going on. Like 15 minutes go by. Out of nowhere, I hear, help! And I'm like, I'm not going to help. I don't know what that is. And then I hear help again, so I go in there and I open the door. The girl got TJ pinned up against the wall like a baby. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do, but all I can do is just look at this point. Now the girl is looking at me and I'm looking at the girl. She starts singing. She was like, ashes, ashes, we all gonna fall down. And I was like, TJ, I'm about to go home. You good? I don't like nothing about this. And he was like, please don't leave me. And I was like, I can call the police. That's our best bet. She got you pinned against the wall. I don't stand a chance. Now, he was like, can you talk her out of it? So I stepped foot in the room and she was like, do you want to play Ring Around the Rosie? I was like, I don't. So I stepped foot out the room. And I was like, what can we do? So I ended up talking her out into putting TJ down and she left. Now I asked TJ, I'm like, who was that and what was that? And he was like, that's Derek. And I was like, the girl? He was like, yeah, that's a man. And I was like, you gay? And he was like, no, I'm just trying to figure myself out. And I was like, so why the girl pinned you against the wall? And he was like, because I had cheated on him to get my mortgage paid and to get my car, and it's mad. And I was like, the girl's mad? And he was like, obviously, I was in the air. And I'm like, oh, okay, you gay. And he was like, no, I just, did something strange for a little piece of change. And I was like, you was gay for money. And he was like, no, I just did what I had to do to survive. And I was like, but what you did was gay. Now, a couple months go by, I don't hear from TJ. A couple days ago, TJ called me. He was like, sis, I want to invite you to my baby shower. And I'm like, exactly, you gay. Why is you having a baby shower? He was like, I got 3 babies on the way. And I was like, do the mamas know? Is there mamas? Do the mamas know? And he was like, I'm just figuring myself out. And I was like, okay, well, when is the baby shower? He was like, I don't know, but the theme is going to be Candyland. Because, I'm not gay, I'm figuring myself out, but I got a little sugar in my tank, and I'm just trying to make sure that I can be the best dad that I can be. And I was like, you literally trying to be a sugar daddy. That's what it sounds like, right? Long story short, I'm blocked. I haven't seen TJ ever since then. Moral of the story, mind your business. TJ ain't gay. Now, with it being Women's History Month, I got one last thing to say before I go. And I got a message for Miss Jones. I know none of y'all know Miss Jones, but I'm going to tell y'all who she is. So if you see her, can y'all relay my message, please? Alright, so Miss Jones was my 7th grade teacher when I first moved to North Carolina. And she used to pick with me all the time. And for whatever reason, one day she decided, I'm anemic, so I get cold real fast. We went outside after lunch and, she started picking with me. She was like, Kieshon, can you take your jacket off? And I was like, well, no, Miss Jones, I'm cold. I don't want to take my jacket off. But she was like, but you're making me hot every time I look at you. And I was like, well, Miss Jones, just don't look at me and you won't be hot. And she was like, why you just won't take it off? And I was like, I'm not doing that. So now she catches the attitude. I'm like, Miss Jones, let's come to a compromise. What can I do other than taking my jacket off so that you can cool down? Like, do you want to go get a sip of water? I'll watch the class. And she was like, no, I just want you to take your jacket off. Why are you causing a problem? Like, I'm not, I'm cold. And she was like, well, I'm going to call your mother since you want to be insubordinate. Now, you can't call no black mama while she at work while you at school. So now I'm a little bit worried, but I was like, well, if you call my mama, I'm gonna tell her that you lying because I ain't never had no abortions. So I don't know what you're talking about. And she was like, well, I'm about to do it. So she called my mom and she on the phone smiling while she on the phone with my mom. So I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. And she was like, your mom want to speak to you. So I get the phone and I was like, hello, who is this? And my mom was like, stop playing. What happened? I tell her what happened. She was like, just sit down and do your work. Ain't nothing gonna happen. So now I'm like, I'm thugging because I'm like, my mom on my side. Y'all, I'm a bad kid. My mama always took the teacher's side. So I'm chilling. All my friends like, what your mama say? I'm like, I ain't got to do nothing for the rest of the class. I can just go to sleep and everything. Now, she get off the phone with my mom. She left me alone for like 10 minutes. Then out of nowhere, Miss Jones was like, look, either you gonna take your jacket off or I'm gonna take it off of you. And then I'm gonna put you out my class. So I sat back in my chair and I looked at her and I was like, Miss Jones, respectfully, I'm not gonna take my jacket off. And if you come over here, I'm gonna beat your ass. So my message to Miss Jones is that it is 2026, I'm 24, and I'll still beat your ass. Thank y'all for laughing.